Hey everyone, welcome to Talk Daily. My name is Eddie, and today we're going to be talking about one vehicle that I really like, exciting technology that's been around for a couple of years. That is the hydrogen car, and specifically the 2022 Toyota Mirai. They have two models, XLE and Limited. The XLE starts at 50,525, and the Limited, I do believe, is about 67,000. Let's look down here specifically. Yeah, 66,955. Yeah. 67,000. The MPG E, that's the range they go in. Anyway, the range is 357 to 402 miles, and I believe it takes 5.2 kilogram of, let's see over here, the hydrogen tank holds about 5.6 kilogram of fuel. It only takes approximately 5 minutes to refuel, making the trip to the pump quick and efficient. This is from Toyota of Santa Monica. Again, I'll leave description of all this article down below. And before I go any further, again, this article courtesy of Car and Driver, and written by Mr. Drew Dorian and Mihir Madirdi. Sorry if I not pronounce it correctly. Again, Car and Driver, they're not a big fan. They give it a 6 out of 10, but I give this vehicle a 10 out of 10. I mean, it's not Toyota's fault that the infrastructure for hydrogen is not online, and it's not online fast enough. I love hydrogen. I know hydrogen is not efficient. If you look at energy, law of thermodynamics states one of the laws is basically when you take energy one form to the other, you lose some of it to heat. Okay, and that's why light bulb is warm, right? That's why we're warm. You know, energy. Anytime you change energy, so unfortunately with hydrogen, you're taking energy extra steps. So by the time the energy reached into the vehicle in the form of hydrogen, you lost a lot of energy in the process. Where electricity, it's a little bit, from whatever's being manufactured to deliver to the battery, it's a little bit more efficient. But I think we could overcome those inefficiency by the fact that these vehicles are becoming more and more easier to, well, not easier, but more practical. So I will go for practicality over efficiency at that point, because it takes about, as I said, 5 minutes. Again, that 5 minutes is not also accurate, which another reason this vehicle doesn't score high. And it's not its fault, okay? It's not Toyota's fault. It's just the infrastructure is not there laid. The infrastructure is not there, so you can able to go to fuel pump and fill up. If you're not aware of when you go to the fuel pump, unless you're filling up from one that's fed by a direct pipeline, that's the one in Torrance next to what Toyota used to be. Toyota headquarters, that's one of the pump that actually has a direct pipeline, so it's able to constantly supply if it's not down. But it's able to constantly supply enough amount of hydrogen for you to fill up, and the person behind you and the person behind you without a lot of break. Other fuel pump, they require some break between every fill up because the pump itself needs to charge, so it might need to wait 5 minutes or so until you fill up because the pump itself is repressurizing, so it'll be able to dispense fuel. And again, some pumps are just down for maintenance. Some pumps are empty. So you are spending a lot of time, instead of being efficient, getting along with your day, you're on that app, the Toyota app, looking for a pump that is active online and has fuel available. So due to that, the car scores quite low. It's not because crash safety or something to do with maintenance or flawed in the vehicle. It's just the infrastructure is not there. So again, this car is way ahead of its time, and I like it. But if you don't live, that's why they only sell in California, because the infrastructure is just not available outside of Cali at the moment. So let's read a little bit. It said the highs. They're talking about the design, the handling, the gorgeous drive range per fill up. Okay, the lows, the price tag, the acceleration is not there. The hydrogen fuel station outside of California. Yeah. So again, nothing to do. Toyota cannot do anything about it. The price tag, again, this new technology, and they're not selling a lot of it. The price tag will go down if more people buy it, but they're not selling as much. And again, they're not selling as much because they don't have enough fueling station. So it's kind of difficult for Toyota to make their own fuel stations. Toyota in the business manufacturing car, they're not in the business of fuel. They might shift into that, but it's just speculation. But for now, this car is kind of like limited between, because it's a yin and yang circle, right? You need the fuel so you can drive the car, and without the fuel you can't drive the car. And It's obviously not a pleasant experience if you are living in a valley and the hydrogen fuel station in the valley is not online, and you need fuel, and you need to go on an app and drive maybe all the way to, a couple of miles away so you can fill up fuel. I understand. It's not convenient, but the vehicle in itself is sound. The vehicle is sound. Hyundai has a Nixo, and that's also hydrogen, and they're probably going through the same situation going through. Toyota, I believe, it gives you about what, $15,000 for like 15,000 fuel credit. That's, I mean, that's amazing. So Toyota is trying to reduce the cost of this vehicle. So yeah, I mean, you're not paying for fuel for quite a bit. That's nice. So you subtract that from that cost if you want to look at it that way. It's 35,000 if you look at the XLE model. The Toyota Mirai is powered by what's called a fuel cell electric powertrain, meaning the hydrogen, which could actually come from using common, for example, among other resources, converted into electricity by an onboard fuel cell. And that's the whole process. Essentially, a chemical laboratory on wheels. It describes it a little bit. Tells you about the speed. It's saying 182 horsepower. We're so stuck on these numbers because we don't look at a relative, we don't understand when we look at a vehicle. The vehicle itself, you look at the car, you don't know how fast it goes, right? You just by looking at it. So the numbers, but again, to me that means nothing. Don't look at that number and say, oh, that's low horsepower, it's not even 200. That's irrelevant. This is a commuter vehicle, okay? That's not a performance vehicle. It should say it has plenty of power for what it is. But again, it's 182 horsepower, 1-speed direct drive transmission. Again, it's electric. To the rear wheels, Toyota claims the Mirai acquires leisurely 9.1 seconds to reach 60 miles an hour. Not bad. It's not bad. It's not fast. It's just right there in the mid-range, just enough. And it's rear-wheel drive, so I like the way rear-wheel drive accelerates. It has a nice feel to it. Again, it's not a drift car, okay? It's not a rally car, so don't think about it that way. You get 65 mile per gallon because it's electrical. And 58 city, 67 both city and highway. Not bad. A 42 mile. Again, it ticks all the spot for like 5-minute fill up, 402 miles. It's good. Unfortunately, it's not its fault. Look at the interior. Typical Toyota interior kind of looks like the Prius. It says Toyota written all over it. Just the design, the knob, the going to drive. I love this vehicle. I love it a lot. It's not Toyota's fault that we don't have enough of this. Look, I'm just going through the pictures right here. It's a beautiful car. It's a pretty car. It's not okay. It's not an S class. Okay, it's not an S class. It's not a performance car. It doesn't have the bucket seat, but I believe that score is really really unfair. I mean, I know I understand it's the issue is the fuel, but it's not the car's fault. The fuel. It's not the car fault at all. If it's just hopefully in the future to have more fueling station. But I think this is to me, I wish this is the future, but because 5-minute fill up is better than charging it and waiting 45 minutes and then trickle charging to get from 80% to 100 in an electric car. And I know the future, the technology will improve for the battery. And for the hydrogen, for sure, that we will have options as long as Toyota keeps this alive. And of course, I forgot about Hyundai and Honda. Hyundai with the Nexo and the Honda also have their lineup too, the Clarity. So if this is news to you, I hope that you learned something today. I mean, it's expensive, but it's a new technology and it's exciting. So. Anyway, thank you for watching. My name is Eddie. If you like this material and you want more, don't forget to subscribe and like. Thanks again for watching. Take care. See you next time.